and I think I'll hush now. So I'll turn it over to you, Ted. Enjoy the show.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening.
Welcome to the weekly Plastic Surgery Anonymous support group. I see a lot of new faces out there. I can't tell you how disappointed I am in that. Remember a few years ago, nobody talked about plastic surgery. They went out and did it, but nobody talked about it. Now, if you mention Botox, nobody even raises an eyebrow. We've had to make a pretty significant change in our program tonight. My friend Bucky the Deer was going to do comedy routines with me. It went beautifully in rehearsal. He learned all of his lines. Then the curtain opened up and the spotlight came on and Bucky went, and that was the end of that. Lucy?
We go to Ireland.
I spent a lot of time in Ireland. There's a lot of humor in Ireland. It's a fascinating place. The people are wonderful. The people are crazy. A friend of mine named Sean was in the Irish Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Picture this. He's at the 500,000 euro level. He has one lifeline: phone a friend. The MC says to him, "Okay, Sean, here's the question. If you're willing to go on, I'm willing to go on. I feel lucky. Okay, which of these birds does not build its own nest? The wren, the cuckoo, the starling, or the house sparrow?" Just like Bucky, a deer in the headlights moment. The poor guy doesn't have a clue. So he says, "I got to phone a friend." So they phoned and they found Mikey at a bar. Sean explained to him what's going on. And Mikey said, "Why are you having a problem? Everybody knows it's the friggin' cuckoo. And everybody knows that. Just go with it." So Sean said, "Okay, it's the cuckoo." The lights flash. The confetti comes down. Sean has won $1 million. Off to Cork he goes and finds his friend Mikey still in the bar and says, "How did you know?" I said, "Well, that's one of the stupidest questions anybody's ever asked an Irishman. Everybody knows that cuckoos live in cuckoo clocks." I was in a bar in Ireland, and I was working as a bartender. This is not a true story. None of my stories are true. Live with it. There's this guy who comes in every night. His name is Paddy. He comes in and he sits down at the bar and he orders 3 beers, 3 different brands, all draft, and he sits there and he drinks them one after the other. Every night. And then he gets up and leaves. And I thought, what is with this? So I said to him, what is this? "Oh, it's me brothers. I have a brother in Amsterdam and I have a brother in London. And we all go into a bar at the same time and we each have 3 drinks, one for each of the 3 brothers." And I said, that's really a nice family tradition. And one night he came in, he ordered 2 beers. All I could think of was he'd lost a brother. So I said to him, Did you have a brother pass away?" "Oh, no, Ted. The doctor told me I had to stop drinking. These two are for me brothers. Father Mikey was driving home from the convent late one Saturday night. He'd been, let's just say, delivering the sacraments to the nuns, if you catch my drift. A constable pulls him over, comes up to the window and says, "Father Mikey, you're weaving all over the road. Have you been drinking?" He said, "Oh no, just this bottle of Irish spring water." "Oh, then why do I smell wine?" Father Mikey looks up and says, "Lord, you've done it to me again." And this is my teleprompter, okay? I know all the stories, but I have to tell them in a particular order or all hell breaks loose in my mind, so bear with me. Seamus was lying on his deathbed, 92 years old. He calls for his friend Patty and says, "Patty, under me pillow there's a bottle of Jameson Black Label. 150 euros for the bottle I paid. I can't drink it. It hurts too much. When I'm gone, would you do me a favor and sprinkle it on me grave?" And he says, "I'd be happy to, but I am going to filter it through me kidneys first." Ireland. People talk about golf originating in Scotland. I don't think so. I think it started in Ireland. There are some absolutely fascinatingly beautiful courses. There are some that are really strange. There's one I saw when I was on my bike trip in 1990. All of the fairways are sand. It's one great big monstrous sand trap. I do not know how they play golf there. Jack goes out to this one particular course every Monday morning and plays a round by himself. He's a good golfer, but there's one hole that has defeated him. Month after month after month, year after year, the third hole. It's 187 yard par 3 with a sharp dog leg to the left. Jack has never made par on this hole. Then one day, he's got a 51-foot putt. If he makes it, he'll have par. He's just, it's a nasty putt. It's across the green, it slopes this way, and there's 2 dips in it. He drained that putt. It had to, it's my story. He goes over to pick up the ball from the cup, and there in the hole is a leprechaun. Jack knows what to do. "I caught you owe me a wish." "That I do," says the leprechaun. And Jack says, "Our golf championship for this club is in 3 months. I want to be the golf champion of this club 3 months from now." "Piece of cake," says the leprechaun. 3 months later, Jack, the newly crowned golf champion for the club, is out there on Monday. He's on that same par 3. He needs a 90-yard chip shot for a birdie. Well, you know what happened. He made that chip shot. It went right into the hole, didn't bounce, nothing. And guess what's in that hole? Why, it's that same leprechaun. The leprechaun says, "Yes, you get another wish." Jack thinks for a second and says, "I know. I want to be the golf champion of Ireland. The championships are 6 months from now." The leprechaun says, "No, mister, no, you don't want that. You don't want that. Look, the club level ones, those are easy wishes. But when you get to the country level, there's side effects. And I know from looking in the Leprechaun book that the side effect for this one is it's going to mess with your sex life. I don't care, says Jack. I want to be the golf champion of Ireland. Soon enough, Jack, the new champion, tees off on that same third hole, and you know what he did. A hole-in-one. He's jumping with joy, and of course, in that same hole, there's that same daggone leprechaun. Jack grabs him and says, my wish this time is I want to go on the PGA Tour. No, you don't. Look, I told you the last time that these big wishes, they mess with your sex life. I've been keeping track. You've only been on 4 dates in the last year. Jack says, you know, I think I do pretty well for myself since I'm a priest in the smallest parish in Ireland and I don't even own a car. I ran, this part of the story is true. I ran a bar in West Virginia for the longest year of my life. It was, I'm not even going there. One day, real quiet night, which was what pretty much all of them were towards the end. These 2 guys came into the bar walking like this, and they pulled up 2 bar stools and they sat down real close together. They're Joe and they're Fred. They're conjoined twins. Between them, they have 3 legs. So we got to talking, and Joe says, we come here to this area every year. We stay overnight in Charlestown. Tomorrow morning, we'll drive down to Dulles Airport, and we'll get on a plane, and we'll go to Ireland, and we'll rent a car, and we'll spend 3 weeks driving around. I had not, at that point, been to Ireland. This is quite some time ago. I said, you like Ireland? No, says Fred. We hate Ireland. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, the beds in the B&Bs are lumpy. The other one says, the people all stare at us. The beer is warm. The food is terrible. And I said, well, then why are you going? And Fred says, it's the only time I get to drive. I told you about Sean on his deathbed. I probably changed the name, but don't worry about it. Sean is on his deathbed. He's 93 years old. He smells something. His wife is baking her signature scones. He says to himself, oh, I would die a happy man if I could have one more bite of one of my wife's scones. Guess what? There's another doggone leprechaun. I said, what do you expect? It's Ireland. The leprechaun says, Sean, you've been such a good friend to the Irish over the years. We're going to grant you a wish. Sean thinks and says, I'd like to be 50 and in good health. The leprechaun says, yeah, we can do that. I'll tell you what, you've been such a really good friend, we'll throw in your wife for free. All you need to do is you need to get down those stairs, go to the kitchen table where those scones are cooling. That scone right there on the corner closest to the door, that's a magical scone. 1 crumb and you and your wife will both be 50. Sean's dying. He doesn't have much energy. He rolls out of bed, he crawls to the stairs, and he bumps down the stairs on his bumpty. And picture this liver-spotted hand reaching up like this. This is the last energy he has. He's almost got that scone and a spatula. Bugger off, they're for the wake. Patty and Maureen were brother and sister, and they lived in Western Ireland in this small community where they had some industry, not a lot. They were tired of it, really tired. And they said to one another, why don't we go and emigrate to America? So they get on the train and they ride across the country to Dublin, and they go to the American embassy and they apply for visas. The clerk at the embassy says, we can do this, but I need to warn you. We're looking for people with technical skills. If you don't have technical skills, you're not getting an entrance visa, a work visa. You're just not getting it. And the guy says, I'm a diesel fitter. Well, that sounds highly technical to me. Okay, we'll grant you a visa. Turns to Maureen and says to Maureen, what do you do? And she says, I make women's pantyhose. I don't think that's technical enough to allow you to have a visa. And her brother pipes up and says, what do you mean? We work side by side. She makes pantyhose, and I hold them up and say, diesel fitter.